Hello everyone, this is Valerie with Old Alley Quilt Shop. This is Moda's Stitch Pink Block 8 Flyaway Home. So this is what the block will look like. There's lots of flying geese and a couple half square triangles. I did a bunch of the flying geese in advance. I'll put those first. So you have your 24C background squares, and you're going to attach them to your D and E triangles. Finding the right side of the fabric here, put right sides together. We'll sew I always sew from the point to the corner. I'll get this one ready too. So I can chain piece the two. Okay. So then I'm going to go and take it to my iron and iron the seams open. They just work so nice. And if you notice, here are my points right there. So I know when I piece them together to stitch on the white and not the red of that point. Okay, I press them open. I am gonna just clip off my scissors the dog ears. You wouldn't have to do this bottom corner because we're not gonna sew over it, but the top one you will. When you square them up, you'll take off the bottom dog ears. Oops. So it's the long side of the triangle along this triangle, and the bottom corner and the bottom of it match up. So the point should come off the top. And again, come from the point down to the corner. It's not required, and it may work better for you to do it the other way. It just works better for me to do it this way. I'm gonna go open these as well. Okay, I pressed my seams open. And now, as the instructions call for, we're gonna trim these flying geese units to 3.5 by 2. So again, bear with me, it's a little difficult with this camera right in front of me. So I have my half over here, so this is 3.5. I want to center this. And my point should be roughly 1 3/4, so there's 1 3/4. And I try to make sure, sometimes you could have them wonky, and I try to make sure that I at least have the 1/4 inch on top, because otherwise you lose your point. And actually, I'm going to turn this around because these lines on your ruler will help you keep it like square with your flying geese triangle. Might not match exactly on there, but move it over so this 3/4 works. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't match exactly as you intended. I find mine sometimes right up here on the top. One side might be a tad bit shorter. This one is not the case. So I try to use typically have these corner pieces just a little bit longer. Of less than 1/4 inch, but for the most part you're going to hide most of that inside your seam. So just try to get them as close as possible. I know I have some weird angles. Sorry, my camera's just not very far from my hands here, so it's kind of difficult working on that thing. All right. So I got all my blocks trimmed up, and I've got my 12, 6 of each units. So then I did, you have 2 of each of these left over, and look what I did. This is backwards. So I'll have to fix this. Hold on a second. We'll do this together. I'll just go to the side I can see the best. Oops. Take out again about every 4th stitch. I'm sure many of you are avid quilters and know. Anyway, just if you do that, then you should be able to grab a stitch on the back and just pull up. And it's up that fast. I'm gonna iron this down. Press iron. Ribbage. Okay, so I still need this to be. So now you see how we put these together. You have these extra triangles. And I need to not be this way, right? It needs to be this side. No, there we go. So these 2 points should be together. Quickly sew that one. And ta-da, I fixed it. I'm going to press this open just with my fingers for right now. I'll hit it with the iron shortly. So then we need to take these, match up our seams. Put a pin in it, and I'll take it over to the sewing machine. Sorry. Ta-da! There's the center. All right, so we got the center and the flying geese units. Whoops. So now we just need the AB units. And they had cut those first and then sewn them. And I find that if you just sew on either side of the line, you're not fighting bias like you would be otherwise. So I got two down here, but I'm just drew a line and this line will be cut, so I didn't even use a disappearing ink. But then I just go just a scant 1/4 inch on either side of this line, and I'll cut down the center, and ta-da, we get both our half square triangles. So we'll do that now. That way you're not fighting the bias edge the whole time. Okay, so I always try to just look at my stitch too. Sorry, I use a darker color just to make sure that it looks like it's pretty even towards the line. So then you take a straight edge on your line. There we go. So I will iron those and then we will square up the last couple units. Okay, and then open. So this center block needs to be squared up to 3.5, and these big ones need to be squared up to 5 inches. So again, I use my ruler's line to find my seam and keep it straight. Gotta find the one that doesn't have a half there, so I can remember. Okay. There's one. Alrighty. 2, and then this one again is the 3.5. So I'm going to switch it around to my halves. You don't have to, it also has lines that help. Awesome. This really looks like I'm just trimming off the dog ears. Alrighty. So now it's all just about setting up, following the pattern here. This one had this in the center, and then the pinks go one way, the reds go another. And the red's all facing. So now you can kind of see how the black should turn out. So the first thing it tells you to do is put these units together. So again, I always, I got the side, I'm just leveling off the top, but I'm actually going to sew on this side. You can pin if you want, but you're really going to try to keep, if you have this side up, you should be able to see the point and make sure your needle is just above the point and not into the red. So my fingertips wouldn't be in the way. You'll probably see this. Just looking for my stiletto. I don't see it. Take this pin out and use it as a stiletto. So you can see here that my needle, hopefully, maybe. The needle is going to just come right at the top there. Okay. So I'm going to do that with all these pieces. It's a little more difficult when you have 2 points touching. One has to be on the bottom, so pinning is important for sure. And as with most things, the faster you go, the more mistakes you tend to make. So if you're having problems, the first thing you should do is slow down. So here's one of those. I just was telling you that sometimes mine just don't square up. Note that this side is a little shorter than this one. This is actually the level 2-inch. So I'm just going to hide that in my seam allowance. I'm going to line it up here So it's not going to be all the way to my 1/4 inch. It's going to be just a little on the other side. Oops, I got this zoomed in really. And your points come out perfect. Okay, I'm gonna finish these up. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I have these done. Okay. So now we will take these and sew this row together, this row together, and this row together. Again, it lays a lot flatter if you iron your seams open, so I have been doing that. And there's lots of pieces, so I will be right back. I also always try to keep the majority of the seams on top. So there's 3 seams there, 1 on the bottom, so I will be sewing with this on top. Be right back. Okay, I have these 3 pieces done now. So now we will take and sew these, and then the other side, and again, match your seams here. Since I pressed them open, they won't nest like they normally would, so pins would be important. So I'll sew these together. I'll be right back. Alrighty, everyone. There is my final block, block 8, Fly Away Home. See you tomorrow.